whoever gives you a cup of water to drink, there is a reward in this if it's done with a supernatural intention. The Lord honours what is done with that gentleness which perceives His presence in the poor. Jesus forsaken before me right now. In this plaque which is on the wall, which was read at my father's death, it puts it very well. I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now, for I shall not pass this way again. And so the living tabernacle of the poor soul before me is where I honour Jesus when He sends me this soul out of the blue. St. Vincent, the one who founded the Sisters of Charity, Daughters of Charity rather, has it put well in this expression that if we are called from prayer to help a poor person unexpectedly, then we need to be completely serene, for we are leaving God for God. And it is in that manifestation of God that we find Him. And therefore, we do not distinguish. If the motive is pure, what difference will it make to me if I honour God at that point in adoration, or if I honour Him in honouring Him in the presence of the human being who calls? And that person who calls will soon pick it up if he's not welcome. So it's important that we give the message, and therefore that elasticity of soul that honours the will of God in its concrete manifestation, and not that it should be as we think it should be. And so it has for us consequences with regard to the way that we be aware of the impact of, especially in a person who's really badly treated already, a word or a gesture, which is sometimes louder than a word, which heals when much wounding has happened. If we, carrying the message of Christ, manage to upset a person even more, then Christ is let down. But then we can let Christ down also if we do not watch over His little ones, and we are warned severely about this. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it will be better for him if a great millstone were hung round his neck, and he were thrown into the sea. Bad words said before a child remain with that child. How many times have I heard it said, such and such a priest uses these expressions and so it's okay. If in addition a young person hears them coming from a holy person, what damage is caused? But also at home. Even the very fact of quarrelling and raising one's voice with a husband, it causes a child to perceive that certain norms are acceptable. And if we expose the child to those norms aggressively on a screen, then we are responsible. With regard to exposing a child to what is damaging, it is important to be aware that to buy a child an instrument which has the advantage for us of keeping that child quiet is not without its consequences on that child's life. We are in causa responsible for the probable consequences of exposing a child to the whole world at an early age, and not slow to pass on hard porno. And also to expose them to hyped up messages which damages their capacity to be quiet is something else, because we are indirectly responsible also for their total well-being, academically, intellectually, humanly. A child very early on addicted to an instrument, a gadget which does everything and has the advantage of killing time hugely, will then be totally unable to settle down to the quiet, undramatic noise of a book, a page which doesn't do anything except be there. And those who go through life unable to stay put with a book will not score at exams. They can't even sit down with a book anymore. There's no hope of a serious career. And we are responsible because an instrument kept them quiet. And if your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. The eye also is to be plucked out. It can be what we are responsible for in just looking up what comes up in the margin. We are solicited by all kinds of messages, but we have to be careful. We get sucked in to the cybersphere and all it contains. The Holy Ghost needs to be invoked every time we press that button, linking us to the whole world. It is, after all, a world wide web, and the demon is not absent. I was moved by a story which apparently is true, which happened before, alas, our dear Maria Simba died some years ago. She was this victim soul who gave all for the souls in purgatory from an early age, and in recompense seemed to know lots about the other side and what happened to these souls. She was questioned about many things before she died. One thing she was questioned on with some insistence was what the Holy Souls thought about what we did with the Holy of Holies. And she was very forthright in this. They, on the other side, perceived full well the demonic attack. And she has this story precisely about the hands causing you to sin. This lady who was keen on being an extraordinary minister and used to delight in the fact because it would give her a place of honour. And she died, and for some reason a part of the family was late getting there, and it came to saying the final farewell. So we had to open the coffin, and only an hour after that person had been sealed, the hand which had been holding the Blessed Sacrament with great satisfaction, perhaps from not very pure motives, was completely and inexplicably black. A part of the body can be damaging to the soul. Our body is the expression of the soul, and we have to handle it well. Indeed, it is with our body that we adore also the invisible, and it is not indifferent if we cause consolation to God and desolation to the angels, edification for man and praise for our Creator. We do the one by exposing all honour and glory to God with the use of the body and the mind, and also edification. But we do the other by withdrawing the same. E.g., if we give a message that really we are the important people in church for this sacrament by talking as though the Lord were not there, that also has its consequences for the little ones, for everyone in fact, and especially if one is a priest. What hope is there if the priest himself talks loudly before the Blessed Sacrament? All the people get that message, and I've seen that happen so many times. If, on the other hand, the priest is seen to be always whispering in the presence of the Blessed Sacrament, it's a quiet message, but a powerful one. It has an effect. Also, if the priest is quietly, instinctively in prayer himself, before especially celebrating the Holy Sacrifice, this has an impact on people, and its absence also. If one goes into the confession box immediately after Holy Mass, it has one impact and one message. If one goes to talk to people loudly, especially in church itself, that has another. So, beginnings check and consequences follow. The messages last long. The messages are not just verbal, they're total. Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with one another. A person who is unpeaceful makes of all things an issue. A person who has salt is a person who is able to, in some way, give the condiment of joy and merriment out of little things and make of the day an upbeat mode rather than something heavy and cloudy. It's just a mode of being, and it can be done. The simple things of life. A comment unexpected makes all the difference. The twinkle in the eye makes a huge difference. The heavy grumble mode is one thing. The little joy of one moment caught and made to bear fruit is another. A grace to be asked for from the Holy Ghost. Lord, give me the grace to be a condiment on life for those who pass me by.